Hi, everyone. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. And today we are talking about surrendering before the battle. I know that we mentioned this a little bit in a previous call, but it's something that is so powerful that we really need to take another look at it. And my guides have supplied us with a different understanding of what they're talking about with surrender. Before we looked at it at when you're approaching a situation and you normally would go in with guns blazing and try to right the wrong that you see being done. But today they're talking about surrender as a way of living your life. So let's begin. Dear ones, the term surrender is most often used but greatly misunderstood by the spiritual community. When you surrender to the highest good, which is God's desire for you, you don't give up your free will, joy, or your ability to prosper. All that you're doing is acknowledging that God's vision for your life is greater than your own, and by surrendering to that greater good, you're agreeing to step out of resistance. You're saying so long to the I know better attitude and hello to the understanding that when you place your trust and the direction of your life in God's hands, you're no longer navigating through life without assistance or without the all-seeingness that belongs only to the Creator and the energetic realm. When many of you hear the word surrender, you assume that you must concede defeat, that you must now dance to the tune that a more powerful being than you is humming, and that you thereby lose your power to choose. Once your life, what was once your life to live, now no longer belongs to you because you, in essence, have become a puppet. This is an uncomfortable and damaging mindset and could not be further from the truth of what it means to surrender to God. First, you have and will always maintain your free will, your opportunity to choose. You may choose, at any time you wish, to take back control over your life. There's no punishment from disengaging from God's wisdom and inspiration, but it may feel as though you're being punished. This is because when you surrender your will to God's, you automatically gain far-reaching insight that allows you to avoid potential conflicts and dangerous situations. When you're connected to and aligned with Source, you're more loving and carry out actions, think thoughts, and relate to others with unconditional love, thus placing yourself in the position to receive that same love and respect from others. Remember, what you put into the world is what you'll receive from it. So when you're connected to the all-encompassing love of God, you'll be sending that love into the world, and the law of attraction dictates that that is which you will receive. However, if you're disconnected from God, you'll be bounced about by unstable waves of emotion, and you'll put forth whatever you may be feeling at the moment. You may choose to send out love, or you may choose to send out anger, resentment, and jealousy. The you which is trying to navigate the world alone is often reactive instead of thoughtful, and that tendency to react without forethought may cause you to send forth energy that will return to you as painful lessons or harsh trials. Do not mistake the return of your energy as punishment from God. God is only love and transmits only love. However, you need neither receive this love or transmit it. When you surrender to God, you do not automatically become released from life or its lessons. Life is still going to happen. There will be good times and bad, happy and sad, for these moments are part of the soul's journey. They help you grow, and they should be welcomed. However, when you've let go of your small self to join with the unlimited being that is God, you will no longer continue to enter the battle. Instead, you'll enter every situation in a state of love and peace. When you've surrendered before the fight, before the battle has run away with your emotions or caused you to react with righteous indignation, you will find that you have nothing left to fight for, that there's nothing to push against, for you've learned to flow as the river, rerouting yourself around rocks and other debris that has fallen into your path. Yet this doesn't mean that you turn a blind eye to injustices or harden your heart and pretend they do not exist, for that would be unloving, and God is only love. Instead, you would find yourselves looking for peaceful resolutions that brought about healing and did the most good. Violence against another brings the energy of violence and encourages the battle to rage even hotter. But a loving resolution looks for the most good that can be gained from this situation and promotes the energy of love and peace. Returning to the idea of surrender in all areas of your life, we must emphasize that this does not mean you're no longer responsible for your actions. No, if anything, you become even more responsible for what you say and do, because you now have access to the divine mind, even though you may not choose to follow their guidance. If you choose to go forth in anger when you have claimed that you have surrendered, you will be held responsible for that decision. In essence, you know better, but you're choosing to move forward in your own power and be subject to the lower emotions of anger, hatred, resentment, etc. Because you know better, you'll receive more pushback from the universe than the one who knows not. The baby is not held accountable for that which they have yet learned, but the adult is held to a higher standard. We want you to choose to be spiritual adults and choose to align yourselves through surrender to the truth that surpasses all understanding. Get out from within the tunnel that is your vantage point without God and climb into the upper atmosphere, which is your vantage point when you are connected to and working in harmony with God. Your peace and your joy will be magnified when you give up trying to meet the petty and small needs of your individual self and commit to engaging in and exploring the vast universe that belongs to your unlimited higher self. You are the crucial decision maker in your own life. You may choose to stay separate from God and wonder why your life feels like a never-ending battle, or you may surrender your small self and glory in the wide open vista that has become your new vantage point. The choice will always be yours. Nothing will be forced upon you or taken from you. However, a life of unending joy and satisfaction is only possible when you join your will to thy will and experience life with all of heaven willing to assist you. Flowing or forcing, fighting or surrendering are up to you. But surrendering before the battle leads to the place where your spirit thrives and your purpose is realized. So, in this channeled message, they opened up so much for us to examine and to really get excited about. The most important thing that I want us to remember is that it's always our choice and that there is no punishment from God. The minute you start thinking, well, I don't have a choice, I have to either do it God's way or I won't get the result that I wanted because I'm not capable, you've taken away the understanding that you are connected and part of the divine. You can choose. You can even make good decisions, and some of the time you will get the results that you were hoping for, whether or not you're fully open to divine guidance. What they are suggesting here is not that you don't know enough. It's just that God knows more, because we're in our lives sort of walking along in our path, and we tend to see what's in front of us without a whole lot of forethought or extended vision. We can see what's in front of us, we can see what's around us, we can see the general pathway. But they're suggesting this is a really tough way to live. This makes it hard to make really powerful decisions because you don't have enough information. But because you are part of God, the only thing that you really need to do is widen and deepen that connection so that you are able to receive in a timely manner the information that you require in order to make better and better decisions. But they do want us to remember that this doesn't mean that life will stop happening. It's not like taking a magic pill and you wake up and, oh my gosh, life is perfect because I've connected myself with God. There are still lessons that you have come to learn. There are still things that you want to understand as a being. There are many things that you have come to explore. And it would not be a fulfilling life if all of your challenges were suddenly removed from you. It wouldn't feel comfortable or honoring to you. Instead, God allows you, in the midst of these challenges that are being presented, to reach up to them and say, okay, help me in the middle of this or before I enter it so that I am making the decisions that are for my highest good. If it's a difficulty, that will lead me through the difficulty in the most self-honoring and self-loving way. There have been situations in my life that were not pleasant. Far from it. Even after I really opened myself to God and deepened that connection, before they were unending, they were what drove me to deepen and strengthen that connection. But even after that connection, there have been unpleasant times in my life. But I am able to navigate them much more easily and much more wisely as long as I am staying connected with God. I make mistakes just like everyone else. I have times when I think, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I tried to do that on my own. I tried to do that without help. I cut myself off from the most incredible help that I could ever receive. Or I'm punishing myself now because I didn't ask for help in advance. Let all of that go. Let all of the condemnation and the punishment and I'll never have this opportunity again. All that kind of negative thinking, let it go and be compassionate toward yourself. We are going to continue to make mistakes. They help us learn. We are going to fall in giant holes and wonder how we got there. Stay connected to God and it becomes easier and easier. Remember, surrender doesn't mean that you're giving up your right to choose the direction in which your life is heading. Even after you say to yourself, okay, God, take it away, I surrender, you still have, on a moment-to-moment basis, an opportunity to make the decision to separate from God again. You'll always have free will. You can make the higher choice or the lower choice. It's up to you. You always maintain that right to choose. Surrendering simply says, I recognize that I know less than God, so I do all that I'm able, and I allow God to do the rest and to bring that which is for my highest good. Doesn't mean you sit on a stump somewhere and do nothing and say, God, it's all up to you. We are intelligent beings. We can make good decisions. As we grow through our life and in our purpose, we need to make more and more of those decisions using more of what we've been given. But there may come times when we feel really lost and in need of help. It's best to stay as connected as you can so that you'll constantly get little course corrections. But let's say you just stepped right out of the flow and you banged yourself up against this giant resistance. Do not get into condemnation. Just step back, take a look at this giant wall before you and say, okay, I think I need some help here. I think I have done all that I can do. I need to be redirected or shown the way around it or through it, or the attitude that I'm supposed to have concerning it. If it's here, there has to be a purpose for it. So I'm going to open to receiving the value, as much value as I can from every circumstance. Now let's take a look at what our responsibilities are. Because we have to make sure that we're not the ones sitting on a stump saying, God, you do it all. That's not going to promote growth, and it's not a whole lot of fun. You want to be joined with God and being an active participant in your life. So we're responsible for our attitude and our feelings about a situation. If you come up against something that feels really badly to you, you have a choice. Oh, this is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. I hate it. That's going to keep you shut off from God. Very difficult to hear anything from the divine when you are in that angry state of mind. Instead, you could say, whoa, this is one of the worst things, probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I need help figuring this out. Let me open to God. I'm going to find the good within this situation, even though I can't see it clearly right now. And I'm going to ask for guidance to find the way out or to understand why I'm here. We're also responsible for opening and maintaining that connection from God, because it's always our choice. We can widen the connection or we can shut it down and be separate. And remember, we are completely responsible for our thoughts. There is no one out there that can make you think something unless you give them permission on some level. And remember, it can be subconscious. So because the heart rules the subconscious, get into the heart and examine those beliefs that are allowing you to think thoughts that are negative and clear it out. Lovingly clear it out. We're also responsible for doing the most good and sharing the most love. We came here to be loving, sharing beings. So we are responsible for that love and for doing that good. Whenever we feel or see a situation, try to respond in love. We're not always going to get there. We're not always going to be able to do it. But if you spend the majority of your time trying to be that loving being that you know that you can be, your life is going to feel so much better. And one of the other things that we are responsible for is using what we have learned. Once we've learned something, once our mind is opened up, once our heart is free, and we know better, we can always go back to the old way that we were responding and thinking and acting and feeling. But it doesn't take away the responsibility. We are still going to be held accountable for choosing to turn away from what we knew and to act in the old way. Let's remember to be spiritual adults. Let's let go of those things that we did when we were ignorant of what it could do to us. And let us embrace and really accept all that is for our highest good and act in a way that supports it. Now, the other thing I want to share, and this is so important because I hear it so very often, and that is it's never too late. Whenever you choose to begin, it is the right time. It is never too late. We have all made mistakes. We have all tripped, fallen, and felt like we couldn't get up again. Sometimes we wallowed in that pit of despair for a really long time. We've sat there and complained and agonized over how cruel life was being to us. It's okay. The minute you realize what you're doing, the minute that you see, hey, this isn't getting me anywhere, forgive yourself, get back up on your feet, and move forward from wherever you are. Let's say you can't move forward at all. You have created such a mess that you are completely stuck. Well, then start changing your thoughts about where you are. Start feeling good about something that exists where you are. If you dwell on the past, if you keep returning to that decision that you made that is causing you your present problem, you can never move ahead. Dwelling on the past brings the past into the present, and you cannot escape that way. So you want to learn from the mistake, make a commitment to move forward in any way that you can, whether it's changing your thoughts, finding something to feel good about, or asking for help. Ask God for help first, because for sure God is ready and willing to provide you with the help. Then, once you feel that you've kind of forgiven yourself and opened yourself back up to God, you may want to reach out to others in a like-minded community. But be really careful who you trust. You are precious, and not everyone is in a loving mind. And they may say or do things that could cause you potential harm. If they do, forgive them and move on. But take a note of the fact that I need to be more careful about who I trust with my feelings or with what's going on in my life. I need to make wiser choices in my friends. Now, what happens if you get out of that big hole and you make the same mistake again? Take a deep breath. Congratulate yourself for recognizing you made a mistake. Take a minute to look at how you got there. What the heck was I thinking or doing? What do I need to learn from this? Ask for help from God again. Let go of all of the judgment and criticism. Blame and shame are never going to help you. If you can, step outside of yourself and look at yourself performing the action that caused this mistake to happen again. Say, oh, I get it. I was thinking this, or I wasn't thinking. I wasn't being present or mindful. And remember, compassion, compassion, compassion. Give yourself a big hug, especially if you've been able to step outside of yourself. Run up to that self that's still feeling that hurt. Give yourself a hug and say, oh, I get it. We all make mistakes. Here we go. Let's pick ourselves up, brush ourselves off, and move forward. And then be grateful that you caught yourself creating the same mistake or causing the same mistake to happen in your life again? Don't start with all that shame and blame nonsense. Just as I mentioned before, instead, hey, self, you're amazing. Look at you. You caught yourself causing this same problem in your life again. Also, I want you to remember to take advantage of the communities, the spiritual communities, especially a lot of us are on Facebook and know each other from Facebook. Take advantage of some of those spiritual communities. But again, with a wise eye. There are some people who join spiritual communities who have no intention of being supportive and loving. So do not take it personally if someone comes back with a lot of condemnation. Just know that's where they are, and that's how they choose to conduct themselves. And you really don't want that kind of person in your life. Okay, Monique, I see your hand is raised. What would you like to share with us today?
I want to ask, because I misunderstood the event and I want to have a second chance from God, but now He's not taking me by the hand anymore, so I am I'm a little bit insecure, what to do. Because if I am going to meet my soulmate in summer, do I need to step on to him because I need him to come to be a lawyer in Amsterdam for animal and rights. So yeah, I'm insecure now what to do in the summer if I meet him.
Okay, so let's take this one step at a time. First of all, you've grown. You've grown enormously. So you may have grown past the hand-holding stage. God may be asking you, and only you can tell this whether this is true or not, but ask yourself or ask in prayer, God, are you asking me to become more? I've grown. I've learned a lot about the spiritual life. God, are you asking me to step up to the plate and be more than I was before? It may feel as though God is not holding your hand because God is asking you, Monique, to step more fully into your knowledge and to act in a way that says, I know that I am loved and guided. And even if I don't feel God holding my hand every minute of the day, I have to rest in the knowledge that that is what's happening and move forward with confidence in whatever direction feels right to me. So that's the first thing. God may be asking you to be a little more active.
But how do I know, that he asking me? How do I know for sure?
Start moving in a direction while you're staying open. And then say to yourself, how does this feel? How am I feeling now? God, can you give me some guidance? And ask for signs of alignment. We never know for sure whether something is going to be perfect or not. So we got to start getting out there and feeling our way, because we don't get to see the big picture. And I did ask them about this. I said, you see the big picture.
Yeah.
How come we don't always get to see the big picture? And the response was, if you knew what was going to happen, you would not be open for the lessons and the incredible growth that was happen along the way. And David, I'll call on you in just a second. Monique, here's the other part of what you're saying. First of all, you don't know that your soulmate is necessary for you to go to be a lawyer. You believe
Yeah.
that to be true, but we don't know that that is necessary. And you don't know when a soulmate or a connection like that is going to come into being. So I want you to be a little more open and a little less fixated on this is the way it has to be. When you're really open to God, then you have to be in the flowing, which is not knowing what way it's going to go, but being open and feeling your way. If it's right, it will feel good and easier. Not always easy. You'll still run into some blocks, and you will see little signs of alignment along the way.
Okay. Yeah, because the last 2 days, I get a feeling that I was coming higher in my in my head, or I don't know, because now I just feel human again, and I was start smoking again. Now I quit again.
Good for you.
Yeah, but because I was sad, so, and I was falling back in old habits. So,
But that's okay. Show yourself some compassion. Hey,
okay.
look at me. I recognize I'm falling into old patterns. I'm
Yeah.
going to choose to do something different. But I'm going to love myself and appreciate myself for noticing that I'm causing myself a problem.
Yeah, and because after the event, that I was seeing that I really, how I really am, and it was, because of the past and the article what I read, it was a shock for me, and so now I'm try to see, okay, but then after the event I didn't know anymore, because I was thinking it is once in a lifetime, and it was just one chance that I was getting from God, and but so I didn't know who I am anymore, but I was empty, but I am just like I am. I like to sing, and I like the music, and I like to work with the animals, and so yeah, I'm busy with the music again, and pick it up and picking just my old life, and I am my purpose. So I cannot change myself. I am just
And you don't have to. You're just going to grow bigger and bigger within that purpose.
Okay.
So hang on. I'm going to mute you so we can hear from David. David, another music fan.
Hi, Marcia.
Hi, honey.
Hi. Are you hearing me okay?
I'm getting a lot of feedback, so I'm lowering the volume here. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, do you hear me okay now?
Oops, now I can't hear you at all. Hang on, David.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can.
Okay. Well, it's been a couple of weird weeks for me as well. We're talking about surrendering, but some things happened in my life also, and where there's a lot of turmoil in the world right these last weeks anyway for everybody.
Yeah.
So surrendering is very present and not always that easy, but let me share something with what happened to me, and I won't go into detail too much, but both privately and businessly I had things happen to me, people coming on my path that triggered so much anger and so much fear I didn't know I had. At one point, I became so angry from subconscious that I saw a total different person. And well, you know me, I'm on an enlightened path as well, but I did not know this was still in my system, and I didn't understand what was happening and why both um, subjects came onto my path. But now slightly I start understanding and surrendering and not going back into the fighting too much and gathering information and just noticing that when we grow spiritually, sometimes we still have hidden things in our systems, and sometimes situations help bring that to surface. And that is the case with me right now. So, but it's not easy because I need to transform it. But surrendering is present. Let's put it that way. It's not fun, but trying to balancing this out, and just wanted to share.
And thank you for that. That is so important. You brought up such a wonderful point there, is that no matter where we are on our journey, unless we have gotten to a place in which we are totally merged with God, we are going to have things come up that we'll feel that we may have dealt with already, or that we're shocked that they're still there. And what I have been told is that, first of all, you may have dealt with an aspect of that situation earlier in your spiritual journey, but as you become more connected and even more aware of who you are as a complete being, you're then more able to realize and then release even more of that particular pattern that may be suddenly showing up. So that's why we've always got to be so compassionate with ourselves and not get out that condemning, critical part of ourselves that says, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I thought I'd taken care of this already. You're not going to achieve anything with that. You're just going to make whatever it is, that habit, that thought, that behavior, become even more fully entrenched. So we've got to be so loving. Oh, look at that. Here it comes again. This must be another deeper aspect, or it's showing me that I've grown so much that I can look at this even more fully than I was able to in the beginning, and get even further with my ability to release it or to overcome this. But we're here to learn. Bottom line, I wish some days we were just here to have fun, but the bottom line is we're here to learn, to grow, to become better than we were yesterday. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that doesn't feel great. And it takes us a lot of opportunities to get over being human, or allowing the ego, the mind-centered thinking, to control what we're doing, and truly just relaxing into that flow and saying, okay, I don't have to be in charge here. I don't have to have it planned out until the last second in order to be okay. I can trust, and I can relax, and I can just act as I am guided. And part of it may be I fall on my face, or the other part of it may be, wow, I've reached even more wonderful heights. But they're both equally important. None of us can grow without falling on our face first. And I wish that weren't the case, because I've been in a lot of mud. Mm-hmm. But could we appreciate where we are today if we hadn't first been in the mud and had to wipe that gook off our face and get up and go again, I don't think it would have the value. If it was so easy, if we just woke up one day and said, oh, I give up. Life's too hard by yourself. I'm just going to connect with God and magically it will be better. Would we appreciate what we had?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so.
No.
It was a long, hard struggle that is ongoing
Mm-hmm.
in many areas of my life. Always trying to improve and improve and improve and get closer to understanding that divine mind and being part of that divine mind. And the growth just is so much better when I realize that, when I get that aha, oh, I get it. I was doing this crazy thing or this foolish thing or this self-hating thing, and it was stopping me from moving forward or causing me to constantly be in a situation where I had to run up against this same battle over and over and over again. What a relief that it's finally gone.
Yeah. Can I say that what I keep reminding myself constantly when situations like these occur is it's not happening to me, but for me or through me.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking of what you just said earlier. There is a tremendous amount of upheaval in the world right now. And if you look at the American news, we're on fire. We are burning up with scandal and disasters and really not good things happening.
I know.
It is probably the most wonderful thing that could have happened to us as a country. People are suddenly being held accountable. They are not allowed to behave in the old way that was cruel to some people and very obsequious to others. There's a balancing out going on, but it looks on the surface like complete and utter chaos, like we've lost our minds. However, when you really kind of peel it back, I'm like, hallelujah. I don't want to see anyone go through a bad time, but I'm so delighted to see that people are not just sitting idly by and allowing unfortunate things to just sweep them up and take them along. They're actually standing up and saying, that doesn't feel good. I don't like that. I'm going to do something about it. I am not going to allow other people to treat me in a way that is dishonoring. And you don't have to get mad. You just stand up and say, I am very uncomfortable with the way that you're choosing to treat me or the things that you have said. Please speak to me respectfully. Please treat me with respect or love or kindness or whatever. And even though, as I said, it looks like crazy land and we see so much violence erupting all over, and people have said to me, how can you say that more love is coming into the world when every other minute is another statement about what's gone wrong? Well, until we see what's going on under the surface, we have no opportunity of fixing it. If these women who in our country are now coming forward and saying that they've been sexually mistreated by the men in the workplace, if they had not come forward, I would assume that their workplaces were happy or fulfilling or, something beneficial to them. Otherwise, they would not have stayed there. Well, now these workplaces are getting an opportunity to become that way. And there does not, and this is one of the things that I really admire, I'm not seeing a lot of anger. I'm seeing just sort of a simple statement. This was done. It was very hurtful, and please take appropriate action so that this person cannot continue to do this to others. I'm not seeing a lot of yelling or screaming or whatever, which I'm impressed with. On the other side, we have a president who's gone off the rails, accusing everyone and everything of doing nutso things, not acting in love, but exposing for the rest of us the incredible corruption that has been going on under the covers for a very long time, that the average citizen wouldn't know much about. So he's really doing us a fabulous service by showing how much corruption had been allowed to flourish and giving us an opportunity to clean it out and start over. And I hope that that is what's going on in the rest of the world as well. I hope that we're getting a chance to see the ways in which people have been acting badly for a very long time, but have been able to cover it up so that we can then see as it gets exposed, hey, that's not loving, that's not kind, that's not honoring to other people. We need to find a new way of being. So that's what I am hoping that we're all receiving from this. Even though it's painful, it is an eye-opener, and it does give you an opportunity to say, I choose something different. I choose to behave differently. I choose to respond differently. I just hope that we as light workers can continue to carry forth the love and to put more love in the world so people are able to respond and say, oh, wow, this doesn't feel good. I want to be more loving and help move the world forward in that way. Because I certainly don't want to see us devolve into chaos and hatred. Oh, he did that to me, so I better do this to him kind of behavior.
Exactly. But those were my triggers as well these last 2 weeks. It's like people disrespecting you in a way that you get so angry. It's hard to surrender on those moments, for sure. But it takes time to calm down and see why it happens and give it another turn, a positive turn.
Yes, but you did that perfectly. First of all, you gave yourself the time. All right, whoa, I reacted. Okay, no big deal. You reacted. But you caught it as it was happening, and then you very wisely said, I'm going to need some time. This is not possible for me to process immediately. Are we giving ourselves enough time to process the thing that caused us to be angry or set off our trigger? I'm not sure that we are, and that's another valuable insight, David. We need to make sure that, okay, I got triggered, and now I'm watching myself react, and now I'm just going to do nothing but give myself time to figure out where this is coming from, why I reacted the way I did, and take a moment to get past the hurt, because there's always hurt with anger, whether it's for yourself or for another. And then I'm going to figure out what I want to do or how I want to respond. That's a beautiful way of letting it come to fruition. We live in a rush society. So I'm really glad you brought that up because I think that's something that we all need to be mindful of. Sometimes we just need to take that deep breath and take some time out to process. The people that dishonored you or disrespected you are not correct. And it's not the easiest thing to just say, oh, that felt horrible. Let me just move on past it. How about take a moment to feel that you don't deserve that and that you would not repay that action with dishonoring someone else? Or even if you think to yourself, man, I can't wait to get back at them for what they did. It's okay. Let that be part of your processing as well. I would prefer that you don't take action because it's going to hurt you more than it will hurt them. Because that anger and resentment that you're holding on to has to hit you first before it can ever be felt by them, if ever. But it's okay to take that moment and say, that really hurt. If we're in a really good headspace, we can say things to ourselves like, am I doing something that would cause them to react to me that way? And just sit with it and see if you get any kind of sign from God, any kind of, yep, they were reacting to you. But often it's just, that's where they were, or that's where they are, and you happen to be in the way. And one of the reasons you may have been in the way was just so that you could have the opportunity to feel what it feels like to be deeply disrespected and dishonored and find a way to be non-reactive. Just kind of take it, look at it, sit with it, process it, and say, okay, I'm ready to let it go. It wasn't mine. If it was mine, I could have adjusted my energy in this way, and that would be a valuable lesson. It's not mine, so I will do better at shielding. I will be grateful that it's not mine and send those people who need to send this kind of stuff out love, because clearly they're not loving themselves. And then I'll just send myself an extra big dose of love and compassion, and perhaps extra love and compassion to those who are in my intimate circle, because it just feels good. But I love the idea of taking your time, giving yourself permission for that time out to process.
Not always easy if you're very
No, no it isn't. I'll tell you an interesting story. My son and his friend were at the park working out, and they had put down all of their exercise equipment, and there was another couple there, and they thought to themselves, oh, we're just going to run around the corner and use this bar or whatever it is around the corner. This couple is here. Our stuff will be okay. We don't need to move it all with us around the corner for these few minutes. Both of them were told, do you think that's a good idea? They both got the same message. Take your stuff. Do you really think that's a good idea? Both of them said to themselves, it's only going to be a minute. And they left their stuff there. A minute turned into 5 minutes because it was harder than they thought to do what they were trying to do. They came back. The couple had left, and their stuff was gone.
Oh, wow.
Everything was gone. I mean, whoever took this took their shirts, their water bottles, everything. My son lost his phone, which he had been deeply attached to, just treated himself to a brand new phone, and both of them lost their car keys.
Oh, wow.
Both of them were told in advance, be present, take your things, don't leave them there. They both chose, for whatever reason, to just feel like they were safe. And my son's friend said to me, geez, what was I putting out that someone would want to do that to me? I said, honestly, I really think it's just a call to be mindful. We forget, because we have all these wonderful parks and these little neighborhoods, that we are really living in a big city, and there is desperation here. And you need to just be more mindful. So I don't think you or my son were putting out anything negative. I think it just happened. It's not a nice thing to happen, but it's saying, hey, be aware that other people are not where you are. They are going through tough things, and if you give them the opportunity to hurt you, they may decide to take advantage of that opportunity. Not because they dislike you, just because you made yourself available. So they both got a lesson in don't make yourself available. And I think that's a good one for all of us. We tend to feel like we're in a little cocoon because we've got this spiritual connection. But we also have to remember we're in a world that is going through some pretty desperate stuff. So we cannot make ourselves available for people to steal from us, hurt us, or do things that don't feel nice. So do your shielding. Take the precautionary steps. Do what's necessary to be safe. And then if it happens, yes, examine, hey, was I sending out this? Did I call for this? If not, okay, what's the lesson? What do I need to learn? As my son said, geez, what a harsh way to learn. I said, yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I am so sorry it happened. But I don't know how many other little lessons along the way about being mindful he was being given. And he didn't share because it wasn't so abrupt. I wonder. I won't say that to him because he's been punished enough by losing his phone and having to get one of much lesser quality. But I know for myself, when I really get a big youch, I've probably been getting signs that I was heading toward this ouch long before the big one. I've been given course corrections that I've ignored. So that doesn't mean, I'm not saying, David, that you were being given course corrections. Sometimes that doesn't happen at all. Sometimes it's just you're ready to face this, and this is the best way for you to get through it. But we do have to be mindful of those course corrections, those times when the nudge is quiet. And actually, that's one thing my son's friend said to me. That voice is so quiet. It keeps getting drowned out by all the other voices. Why isn't it louder? And my response was, you know what? Sometimes I hear that voice and I don't see any reason to follow it, but I do it anyway because I have learned in my experience that when I get those little pushes to do something, there are times when it's just an exercise in trust to build my trust muscle and to make me more receptive to divine intervention. And there are other times when it is imperative that I follow it. But I've sort of now gotten into a knee-jerk reaction with it after all this time. And when I hear it, I just do it. Oh, okay. Not always. I'd like to get to the always point. But one thing that I was very guilty of was leaving my purse in the shopping cart at the grocery store. And they got on me so many times for that. Thankfully, they did not let me lose my purse. I really deserved to, I've got to admit, on many occasions. That is really foolish. But they did not let me lose my purse. But they have now trained me, take your purse. So, I mean, that is so stupid. Never leave your purse. And now when I see other ladies and their purse is unattended, I will actually stand near their cart until they come back so no one can steal their purse. Mm-hmm. I thought about, should I give them the lecture? I thought, oh, God, no, just kind of hover over here so that nobody can get their purse. Act like you're looking at something. So for them, it was a mindfulness lesson. For you, it may have just been, David, you need to be a little less open. There's still chaos in the world. Please shield a little better. Please check with me before you invite someone in. Don't be quite the open heart, because not everyone is worthy of your time. And I don't mean that to be cruel. I just mean not everyone is ready or receptive to what you have to offer. And I'd much rather see you spend your energy on those who are open and receptive than those who are closed and blocked and want to fight you for every word.
I know, Marcia. Thank you.
Okay. I have to protect the loving hearts in this world. Mm-hmm. We got to keep those loving hearts strong, because we're what the world is depending on right now. So for all of you on this call, all of you big loving hearts, and you especially, Monique, love yourself first. It's not selfish, it's self-honoring. Because when you're filled up with love, when you are truly feeling good about you, you have so much more love to give. When you're an empty vessel, there's not much to share. So fill yourself up first, connect with God, be as loving to yourself as you can be, and then out of that outpouring, flow your love to others. But shielding and protecting yourself is not selfish either. It's self-protective. If you're not shielded and you get whammed by somebody else's energy, and you've got to curl up into a ball until you recover, again, your love is being pulled out of the world. How much better it would be if you would shield first and stand strong, so that when that energy wham comes out, and it's not coming at you in particular, it's just coming. When that energy wham comes out, you're standing strong and you can transform it into love and send it out, instead of finding yourself curled in a ball on the floor, agonizing because of the pain that you receive from that person. So I love you all. That's all we have time for today. We will be back next week. And I invite all of you to join the mailing, get on our mailing list, go over to my website, marciamartinthehearthealer.com, Marcia spelled M-A-R-C-I-A. Or if you want to send me an email, I'm always happy to offer anyone who's hurting in any way or has any question a free 30-minute consultation. So open your hearts and your minds to the love that's pouring forth. Be self-honoring and self-protective. Be self-loving, because you are just that valuable. So, next week we're going to be talking about the law of order of events. And even though this sounds like really simple, we often forget and get impatient. So I'd like to take a deeper look at the order of events. Is there a certain sequence that God has put in place that if we understood it better, we could be more patient and more able to let go of our need to control and just stay in that divine flow. But anyway, that's what we're going to look into next week. I haven't channeled the blog post, so I can't give you any more information than that. But I just want to send much love and much abundance out to everyone. Open your heart to receive. You are so worthy. Again, it's Marcia, Marcia, at marciamartinthehearthealer.com. And I will see you next week. Thank you all for your incredible value and love that you bring to the world. Please send your questions or your concerns. Let's answer them together as a community, a loving, supportive community. Thanks so much, everyone.